Hey there, everybody. Kimball Roundy here, and I have a pretty strange question to ask you. Would you ever, under normal circumstances, pay more than $1,000 for a single egg? How about $500 or even $250? Obviously not, right? Well, crazy thing is that that's exactly what this is right here. This is my $1,000 egg. You see, a little over a year ago, I decided to take a break from internet marketing. We sold everything we could sell, moved out of our way too big for our little family house, and bought a big RV, and set off on an epic family adventure. After traveling around for a few months, visiting friends and family, seeing the sights, etc., we stopped in this tiny ranching town in the middle of nowhere to see a good friend and mentor of mine, one who, by the way, I thought had lost his mind when he moved out here. You can see here on this screen, these panoramics, that's literally the entire town. Now, when I say in the middle of nowhere, I mean it. It's literally an hour drive down windy mountain dirt roads to get to the closest town, and over an hour and a half to the closest grocery store. You can see here on top a couple of pictures of us having a rubber band gun fight as we pulled over on the side of the road because my son ended up a little bit car sick because of the ride. And there on the bottom, it's actually quite treacherous, and we've had entire weeks where we were snowed in and couldn't get to anywhere. I kid you not, there are only about 10 families that live out here, and a total of about 50 people, most of which I actually know on a first-name basis, which is amazing compared to that. I couldn't tell you the names of any of the next-door neighbors that I've had over the last 10 years previously. The people out here are just a different kind of people. And from the moment that we got here, I absolutely fell in love with this place. And a little did I know before I got out here, it was exactly what I needed. My life for the last few years leading up to this as an internet marketer had been absolutely crazy. Working over 20-hour days, traveling all over the country to meet with consulting clients for speaking engagements, masterminds, and marketing conferences. And when we first got here, the difference was shocking, and it was shocking in a very good way. For example, I live on Main Street, and I can sit on my front porch, as I often do with my laptop, for hours without seeing a single car. You can see here an aerial shot from a friend of mine who brought his plane down to visit, and that literally, again, is the entire town that you can see right there. Heck, I can walk down to the post office, which is actually just a big tough shed with some P.O. boxes in it, without seeing anyone. Walk entirely down Main Street to the post office. Name any other town in this country that you can do that. There definitely aren't very many. And this was exactly the kind of escape that I needed. To reset, recharge, and reconnect with the family that I had basically not really seen in years because I was so busy traveling. And I absolutely fell in love with the country lifestyle. So we decided to rent this little 10-acre farm for my mentor that has a 100-plus-year-old farmhouse and actually a 100-plus-year-old outhouse that I may or may not have had to use when our septic tank went out for a few weeks in the middle of this winter with 8, 9, 10 inches of snow on the ground. And we literally had no intention of ever leaving this place. I was so in love with it. Then something happened that I literally did not expect. What I didn't see coming was that I would fall in love with being a farmer of all things. Yep, back in the middle of the winter, my wife said, hey, let's go down to Cal Ranch, which is one of the local ranching and farming stores, and take a look at the baby chicks. And the next thing I knew, we had 20-day-old chicks, 4-day-old ducks, and 3 bunnies in my kitchen. Yep, in my kitchen, because I had no coop for them to be in, and it was way too cold outside for chicks and ducks that young to be able to survive. Well, let me just say that having that many animals in your kitchen gets old quick. So I worked through the freezing weather, rain, snow, and bitter cold to get this big, ugly chicken coop built. Virtually every piece by myself with my own 2 hands. And I absolutely loved every minute of it. Now, these animals, I'd have to say, are my babies, and my kids and their friends are absolutely loving them too. What I thought was going to take a few days to build this chicken coop took me almost 2 months working every single day, and I was the happiest that I had been in years. So anyway, back to that $1,000 egg, and what on earth does it have to do with internet marketing? You see, as I've been going through the process of learning how to become a farmer, I realize that it's virtually the same process that I went through to become an internet marketer. Reading everything I could find online about chickens, ducks, bunnies, gardening, etc. Watching countless hours of YouTube videos about how to build chicken coops and rabbit pens, etc. And I'll just say that my wife and kids got a little sick of me wanting to watch videos about raising earthworms or mealworms or crickets, etc. to feed our chickens on Friday nights instead of the latest Netflix series that we used to waste hours on. But I simply couldn't get enough. And as I've looked back on this experience, I realized that I did the same thing back when I first started my internet business in 2005. I bought every marketing course I could get my hands on, which in fact back then wasn't all that much because there weren't really that many people having a lot of success online. I literally spent every waking moment that I wasn't at my job learning how to write my own code, build my own sites, create newsletters and info products, and basically figuring out how to get traffic to make this all work. Pretty much all the stuff that I'm sure you've been struggling with up to this point. And after thousands of hours determined to figure it all out and do everything by myself, I finally had my first site ready. And within minutes of launching it and setting up my Google AdWords, I had leads coming in, then my first sales, and just like that, I knew that I was well on my way. So, that first egg. Here's the point. In my 11 years as a marketer, having made millions of dollars online, the one thing that I think has stood out to me more than anything else for my students is that people have entirely the wrong perception of what it really takes to be a successful marketer. Just like I had no idea what it would take to raise day-old chicks and ducklings, or how hard it was actually going to be to build this huge, ugly chicken coop by myself. And just the sheer amount of backbreaking work it would take to pull it all off. Just to get to the point where I could get this. This is my very first egg. And in total, not counting the hundreds of hours I spent working on the coop and taking care of the animals, this one egg has cost me over $1,000 in feed, lumber, and other supplies. You see, most people think that making money online should be a piece of cake. Just throw up a website in a few days, like I thought I would do in my chicken coop, and watch it make you millions. Like going to the grocery store and picking up a dozen eggs for $2. They just simply don't see what went on behind the scenes to produce those eggs. When people see me launch a new software program and make a couple $100,000 in the first month, they don't see the 10,000 hours of learning and work over the last 11 years that has taken to get me to where I am today. Many think it was just luck. I was just lucky. Time and time again, making million after million, all luck, right? Yeah, exactly. Just like it was with this egg, and it just appeared out of nowhere without me having to put in the work. Now, just as it was when I put together my first website, this first egg has cost of $1,000. But when I got another one the other day, the per egg price, or cost rather, dropped to $500, then to $333. And now that my other hens have started laying, we're getting 15 or so eggs every single day. My cost per egg will continue to drop dramatically to the point where I am getting farm-fresh, pastured eggs for much less than they would cost me in the store, sometimes up to $5 or $6 a dozen. And I already have some neighbors who want to buy eggs from me and plans to start selling them at the local farmers markets and in this little convenience store here in town. So they will start to produce money for me and ideally turn that cost per egg into a profit per egg. So it was and so it will be with your marketing business. After putting in the work to create your products, build your sites, start driving traffic and optimizing your offer, one day you'll hit the sweet spot on your offer and a few profitable traffic sources, and you'll start seeing the sales, i.e. eggs, flying in. As the weeks, months, and years go by, the work and effort it takes to make $1 online will be much less than it was with your first website, because you're not having to relearn and rebuild and recreate all your offers each time you launch something new. Each time you can use the same code, the same website, similar graphics, the same partners, etc., and building on previous learning experiences, and each product launch becomes easier and hopefully more rewarding as far as a per egg profit. Now, I didn't put this site and these videos together just to talk to you about $1,000 eggs. As I said, I'm absolutely loving every minute of being a farmer, and I've never had more fun in my life. But what I have learned through this process is that I still have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to what I really want to do as a farmer. Now, when I do things, when I get involved in things, I never play small. I always try and play big. And I've got big plans for what I want to do to get to the point where I have the productive capacity with my farms to profitably feed hundreds of thousands of people and employ thousands of people, if not millions, just like I've done in my marketing business. But in order to accomplish my goals, I know I definitely need to up my game. I need to do exactly what I've been telling all of my marketing students for years. I need to invest in my education. YouTube videos and other free training stuff online aren't going to get me where I want to go, just like they won't get you to where you want to go in your marketing business. So I'm going to really dig in and invest in myself by going to conferences, workshops, masterminds, etc. to get hands-on experience to learn the skills that I need to pull off my vision. So I'm officially retiring from becoming an internet marketer to become a full-time farming student and eventually a full-time, wildly successful farmer. And by the way, if you ate anything today, you owe it. You owe some thanks to a farmer. And that's going to start with us getting back in the RV and traveling around the country to every major farming operation, training conference, and workshop that we can find. Learning from those who are doing what I want to do, while my sweet neighbors take care of my little flock. But before I go, I want to give back to the community that has been so generous to me. So I've spent, I don't know how many hours, 1,000 plus at least, over the last few months, putting this free lecture series together for you. I'm giving you everything I got before I go. To the best of my ability, I'm going to lay it all out for you, everything that I've learned over my now 11 years as a marketer. And I've structured it in such a way where you'll literally be able to take the exact scientific formulas that I have developed and used over the last 11 years to go from hanging sheetrock for $5.25 an hour to making millions on the internet. And the way I'm doing it is I've defined what I call the internet marketing prime elements. And I've broken down every element that is required for running an internet business down into what I call the periodic table of internet marketing elements. And this is something that you'll be able to use as a guide as you set up your marketing products, sites, etc. And I'm literally giving it all to you today for free. When you fill in your email below, here's what's going to happen. Over the next 7 days, I'm going to show you exactly how I went from working construction for $5.25 an hour, hanging sheetrock, to learning about the dream life that comes from having steady, passive residual cash flow from running your own business. And then, over the course of the next 11 years, going through the School of Hard Knocks, having huge successes with over 820,000 students, clients, and customers in more than 176 countries. I've made more than $3 million on the internet, and you're going to get it all. All the positives and the negatives of being insanely successful. Yes, negatives. There are a lot of them, and you're going to want to know what they are before you have success, or it literally can destroy you. So I'm going to lay it all out for you. The good, the awesome, the bad, and the ugly. So here's how this is going to work. When you fill in your email below, 2 things are going to happen. First is I'll take you right to the page where you can download your student manual for the Periodic Table of Internet Marketing Elements lecture. The periodic table is a neat little infographic that I created that will break down in a simple to follow, orderly fashion every one of the many elements that are needed to make up a successful internet business. On the page, you'll also have access to the first lecture, which will walk you through a high level of what the internet marketing prime elements are and how to use them to dramatically reduce the learning curve that it's going to take you to get to your first $1,000 egg point and beyond. It'll also show you the destructive elements which, if you try to use them in your business, will ultimately, without exception, hinder your business growth, if not bring destruction and failure to your business. When you fill in your email below, You'll also be registered to receive 3 more lectures and 3 more student manuals over the next 7 days. In lecture number 2, you're going to learn what I call my 5-pillar business roadmap. I'll show you how it all went down for me, month by month and year by year, all the dirty details, all the roadblocks, the expensive education of huge successes that ended in colossal failures, and all the business experiences that I've had over my 11-year career that led me to developing this periodic table of prime elements for you. This will give you the context of it all so that you can understand what I'll be teaching you in the rest of the lectures. Then, a couple of days later, in lecture number 3, I've extracted my 3 biggest learning experiences. Not just biggest successes, but successes and failures so that you can learn from them. I'll be doing a chalkboard workshop style video where I'll diagram out the entire business structure and strategies that I used for each. The good and the bad. I'll show you every single element that was combined to have the successes and those elements that led up to some of my experiments blowing up in my face. We're talking all of the sales funnels, all the sales messaging and offers, so that you can simply model your offers off of what I did that was good and avoid those destructive elements that I encountered, potentially giving you the ability to have even greater success than I've had without the failures. That would be pretty nice, right? I'll be showing you how I incorporated as many as 22 different streams of passive residual cash flow that paid me whether I ever sold one of my own consulting or software packages or not. Now, up to this point right now, that's over $852,422.91 and counting so far. Now, how I passively built affiliate sales teams to over 650,000 people and a bunch more cool stuff. Basically, you'll be getting the real, raw kind of coaching that I do with my top tier $25,000 consulting clients. And in the 4th and final lecture, I'm going to break it all down to a level where you can apply it to your own personal situation. Whatever point you are at on what I call my 7 steps to 6 figures, whether you're just getting started and still pouring money and time into getting your first egg, or you're already making 6 figures. I'll give you a custom formula that you can follow to take your business to the next level. I'll reveal to you the exact technology elements that I would use if I were you, how to structure your funnels, offers, and what types of products to create. Everything. So no matter where you are at, you'll know exactly how to move forward towards scaling up your business, along with every other strategy, tip, trick, etc. that I can think of. When you fill in your email below, you're going to get it all. 100% free. Just tell me where to send the student manuals and the links to watch all of the lectures, and they're yours. Fill in your email now to get started, and I'll see you in the first lecture.